Washington, D.C. At their most recent meeting, the Federal Reserve's top officials supported scaling back the amount of their rate increases soon, just before hiking their benchmark rate by a sizable 0.75 of a point for the fourth consecutive time. The policymakers at the central bank observed very few evidence of easing inflation pressures. However, according to the minutes of their November 1st to 2nd meeting, which were made public on Wednesday, a large majority of the officials believed that lower rate increases would likely soon be acceptable. When the Fed meets next in mid-December, it is largely anticipated that it will increase its important short-term rate, which affects many consumer and commercial loans, by a half point. The policymakers determined that the rising wages brought on by a healthy labor market and poor productivity growth were inconsistent with the Fed's capacity to achieve its 2% annual inflation target. The Fed policymakers also expressed skepticism about how long it might take for their rate increases to slow the economy down enough to control inflation at that meeting. After the meeting, Chair Jerome Powell emphasized at a news conference that the Fed was far from declaring victory in its battle to lower rising inflation. According to Wednesday's minutes, Fed officials believed that regular rate rises would be necessary to prevent Americans from anticipating perpetual inflation. People behave in a way that can make their expectations of further high inflation come true, for as by pushing for greater wages and making large purchases before prices continue to rise. After a year and a half of severe labor shortages, the Fed officials observed that most employers were resisting layoffs even as the economy slowed down, seemingly keen to retain workers. Just above a half-century low, the unemployment rate in the United States is 3.7%.